Hi everybody, welcome to Dynamo Sword Channel. I'm David, and today on Dynamo Sword Channel I will be reviewing the Dragon King Hana Katana. Now this may seem different for the channel, as normally I review medieval European swords, but I also collect katana and have experience in Japanese sword arts and history. So I decided I needed a new katana in my collection, and this one fit the bill. So how does it compare to other production katana on the market today? Well, stay tuned and we'll find out. This sword classifies as a katana, a specific type of two-handed curved single-edged sword originating in Japan. Now historically, katana sees its origin stem from the Chinese Dao, which influenced the early predecessor of the katana, the karataichi, which in later years developed into the uchi katana, down to the katana that we know from the Edo period. The Hana has the look and koshire of a classic Edo period katana. Now, during the Edo period, which lasted between 1603 and 1868, Japan was under control of the Tokugawa shogunate, a feudal military faction that placed strict rules on the country as well as the samurai that served it. The shogunate set strict laws and regulations on what could be worn regarding the koshire or fittings of the katana. Basic black coloration and simple koshire were expected in court as well as in public view. The Hana is a nice example of a common 17th to 19th century court sword with its solid black coloration and simple but elegant koshire. The blades of the Edo period also showed significant changes in blade profile. As opposed to the deeply curved and thick-bodied uchi katana of the Muromachi period, Edo period blades tended to have less curvature and slimmer blade profiles. Now, as the Edo period was considered a time of peace, katana design was given less prominence in its combat efficiency, and more emphasis was placed on the aesthetic appeal of the blades and swords themselves. Though it would be a misconception to believe the katana was not still an effective battle weapon, for this was the area that advanced progression in forging techniques such as lamination and differentially hardening was most prominent, giving us the beautiful hata patterns and hamon katana renowned for. Being a modern production katana, this specific sword is not necessarily based on any historical original. This is something you would more so expect in the European reproduction market. Buyers in that market tend to prefer more historical accuracy to their sword designs. With katana being more prominent in the sword market, katanas tend to have more variety in colors and fittings and the designs of those fittings. But they do tend to have the more common shinogi zukuri blade type as you see here. Though most of the koshire or fittings tend to be based off of historical originals. The benefit of katana is ease of customization. This allows many vendors and even buyers to make their own uniquely designed swords rather than specific reproductions of period originals. Next, we'll look at the overall statistics of the sword. So, the overall length of this sword is 40 3/4 inches. The weight is 2 pounds 5 ounces, and it has a point of balance 4 3/4 inches from the habaki, so right there. The class of this blade, again, would be katana, and I would consider it more of a Shinto era katana. As we mentioned in the historical section, more of the Edo period regulation. But again, it doesn't really fit any historical replica. It's more just your general katana that you would see on the market with all black with, it's more basic unique koshire. The blade, or nagasa's, total length is 28 3/4 inches long. And that goes from the base of the tsuba all the way up. So there is about an inch to the habaki, so it's about 27 3/4 minus the habaki, which is normally how you would measure a katana's blade length. The blade width is 1 1/8 inch down at the habaki, and that slightly tapers to about 3/4 of an inch at the tip, or kisaki. The material is a differentially hardened T10, so it does have a natural hamon, and the finish of the shinogi-ji, or upper portion of the blade, is mirror, while the nagasa, or lower part of the blade, is satin. The hamon is a gunomi midair hamon, so more of the wavelength hamon you see kind of in more production katanas. It is not very prominent on this sword, which is a pro and con. Most production katanas, they do an acid etch on the hamon to kind of accentuate it. I don't really like those. I think it just kind of makes them look fake, kind of like more display katana. But again, in the right lighting, you do see that hamon. So it is there, but again, due to the more satin polish of the blade, it is not very prominent. The hamon, again, it goes through the blade. It does have a nice termination, but again, very cloudy and not very prominent. The sori of the katana, or curvature, is right about 3/4 of an inch. The kisaki length is 1 3/8 inches from the blade, and it does seem to be geometric. It is in the ko-kisaki termination, so more of the shorter point rather than the longer point you'd see like on a chu-kisaki. And again, the blade type is your more standard shinogi, zakuri, Shinto era blade type. The tsuba dimensions are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. The material is a nice soft finished blackened iron, and it is in the moko gata shape, or four-lobed moko shape. It does have the hana or blossom accents to it, as you can see, which is the kind of title feature of the katana, being the Hana Katana, which means blossom or cherry blossom. The habaki is 1 inch in length, and it is a single piece sterling silver habaki, which is really nice to see. Usually they're a kind of a brass color, but this silver really adds aesthetic to this sword. The seppa as well are, as you can see, are silver and are in the coin fret kind of shape. Pretty common for mid-level katana like this. Entry-level katana usually tend to have those kind of more flat base seppa, or the gear tooth seppa. So yeah, seeing the nice, polished and shaped coin fret are really nice to see. So onto the tsuka. The tsuka's total length is 11 3/4 inches. The circumference up at the tsuba is about 4 1/4 inches, and that slowly tapers to 3 1/4 inches at the kashira, or pommel, as you could say. This tsuka does have a nice taper to it that goes down to the kashira. I really like that in grip. Most tsuka you get from production katana tend to be bulky, sometimes referenced as axe handled, simply because they're not very comfortable to the grip. This one is really nicely contoured and shaped. Very impressed with this grip, or tsuka. Definitely a highlight of this sword in general. Now the tsuka material is wood core, so it does have a wood core tsuka, and it does feature large node Samagawa panels, so a really decent Samagawa, which is again hard to find in production katanas. Most of them tend to have just kind of general rough small node Samagawa. The Ito is a black silk, and the Hinerimaki style, it does have Hishigami, which is another nice feature that you normally don't see in the production market. What Hishigami are is they're little paper folds that they use to tighten and shape the alternating Sukamaki. So that is another nice benefit to this sword. It's hard to tell if you have Hishigami unless you really pick at it and look. I did myself. You're not going to really be able to see them unless I really had like a pick or something to fold them out. But they are there, and that is a highlight. I know a lot of other manufacturers state they use Hishigami, but they're usually just, they tend to glue around the kind of the fold, and that's how they tend to hold their Sukamaki together. So that is a definite high point of that, is the overall hilt construction and just the taper and proper usage and folding technique on the Sukamaki. Alright, so let's look at the kushire, or fittings of the hilt. So the fuchi, which is the top band here on a katana, is made of blackened iron in the owari style, and also features the blossom accents of the tsuba. The kashira, or end cap or pommel, is blackened iron, again in the owari style, which is more of this longer shape to it, and also has the hana or blossom accents, as you can see there. The minuki, or handle furniture, are silver, similar to the habaki and seppa, and also have a nice blossom or hana pattern to them as well. The hilt construction of the suka is double pinned mikugi, so they do have the smoked bamboo, as you can see here and here. I know a lot of people kind of hit or miss having two. I'm of the mind two's better than one as far as just overall security. I know it's not technically traditional, but I don't see anything wrong with a double pin. And finally, we'll have a look at the saya. So the saya's overall length is 31 inches. It's made of a hard wood, and it has a nice black textured matte finish to it. Now most saya have a piano lacquer or high gloss lacquer to them. Those are nice and attractive, but they do tend to nick, chip, and crack more. So honestly, if I was going to choose one, I tend to prefer the matte finish, just because it tends to be a little more durable. You don't get the fingerprints and things like that on it, so it is a nice finish. Now on to the more specific parts of the saya. The koiguchi, or mouth of the saya, is blackened buffalo horn, and as you can see, it has a nice carved throat or mouth for the habaki to friction fit. Another hard thing to find in production katana is to have a nice carved throat, or koiguchi. The kurigata, which holds the sagio, is also blackened buffalo horn and has these nice accented shiridomi that are also sterling silver. The kojiri, or end cap of the saya, is a rounded black polished buffalo horn, so this does have full horn fittings, which is a definite highlight in the production market. And the sagio is tied in the more 3-knot traditional sagio wrap you see on most production katana, and is a nice black silk, similar to the Tsukamaki. Now, as far as the saya itself, I would say it's a really nice saya. It has a nice slim shape to it. It doesn't have the bulk that most production saya have, and the fit is quite amazing. No rattle, holds the blade tight, and when drawing and bringing it back in, nice and smooth, no looseness, no rattle. Very impressed with the saya. The saya fit is top notch and probably the best I've seen on any production katana that I've owned. In conclusion, overall, I was very impressed with this katana. In the sub 400 price point, I've yet to see a katana with such an impressive fit and finish, as well as attention to detail in the koshire, especially the tsuka taper. Most katana in the production market tend to have very run-of-the-mill fittings, and they're, especially in regards to the tsuka shape and how the koshire is fitted. This attention to detail tends to be overlooked with more focus given to the finish of the blade. For example, with the type of hamon, blade forging techniques, or more specifically laminations. Down to what specific seal grade is used. As a result, there are many swords in the $200 to $400 price point with poor koshire but very attractive blades. Sometimes you get a complete package, but most of the time you must pay above that production market sword price range to get the best of both worlds regarding fit, finish, and forging technique. With this sword, I feel you get as close to a complete package as you would with a higher priced katana. The attention to detail with the fittings or koshire is again top notch, and its T10 differentially hardened blade is nicely shaped and durable, though its polish is of lower grade. Though again, these are the trade-offs in price point, and personally I would take a better fitted katana over one with a more elaborate blade polish or lamination. Regarding the manufacturer, I was pleasantly surprised with the product Dragon King offered. I was not too familiar with them, as there isn't many reviews on their swords, and being a subsidiary of Hanwei Swords, I kind of assumed they were just your typical Hanwei with a different name on the box. Though even compared to a Hanwei of similar price point, for example their Practical Pro or Practical Plus models, this sword is a cut above the rest. The tapered tsuka and the better fitted saida is just a few of the highlights, but those also include the real silk Ito, the use of Hishigami and the Tsukamaki, and just really honestly, compared to other katana on the market, this is really impressive to see, especially sub 500. Overall, I was extremely impressed with the fit, finish, and quality control for Dragon King and this Hana Katana. I would not only recommend them to a buyer, but would also be interested to view even their other models, even the higher priced ones. In the end, I tend to be more scrutinous of katana due to the various resellers and shady third-party eBay vendors around. Sometimes you just don't know what you're getting when it comes to katana, and often the overall product is subpar or not as advertised. This is why I always try to purchase from reputable vendors and manufacturers, and in my book, Dragon King fits the bill in regards to offering a quality katana at a very affordable price. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Dragon King Hana Katana. Please like and subscribe and leave comments below. Also be sure to check out the follow-up cutting video with cutting impressions. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.